Hey guys, Rascal here, and welcome back to another Rascal Reviews. Today, for Superhero Month, I'll be covering a few of my favorite superhero shows. Now, I did this last year, like I covered OKKO and Tiger and Bunny, and of course on our Paul's Animation channel, we cover superhero movies every day excluding Sunday. And Sunday maybe a little extra if we have a guest star. For my channel, I usually have about 3 or 4 reviews in a month on Sundays as well. So there are a few I've already covered last year, so gonna be a little different. I'm gonna try to cover some things that not many people I know have either seen it or have heard of it. And today I am starting with Kid Cosmic. Now, you most likely have seen a post about this I've made on Community tab, depending on the time this comes out. I mean, maybe before it comes out. So if so, well, then you'll see it eventually on there. Kid Cosmic was a animated superhero series on Netflix, and it was created by Craig McCracken, who you know for making One Over Yonder, Father's Home for Imaginary Friends, and of course the Powerpuff Girls. Now, this show came out in, I believe, either 2019 or 2020. A little hard to tell. And I saw this come up on Netflix, and I saw a superhero show, so I was automatically interested in seeing it. However, I didn't know Craig McCracken had done it until it was already available, and I saw his name as the creator of the show. And I was very excited. And went to see the show, first episode, and immediately loved it the first episode. And the show ended earlier this year, about February or March. It only had 3 seasons, and it aired about the other 2 seasons almost nearly within the same time frame, like maybe late last year to early this year. And I want to talk about it because I don't see a ton of reviews for it. It's not that people did not like it, not at all. I mean, there were quite a few videos about it saying, you know, this was the next masterpiece, this was a breath of fresh air for superhero shows considering how dark they've gotten recently. It was covered a few times, but it didn't really pick up any traction with people. And I hope it's not one of his shows that really goes down in history of one of the best anime series ever made, because outside from some reviewers, there wasn't much talk about it. Nobody really that I knew even knew the show existed. No comments, nothing. It was sort of like you were in the Twilight Zone or something. Found this amazing show, finally something new from Craig McCracken, and no one talked about it. So today I would love to change that. I want to give it some special attention. Of course, we covered this on Paul's Animation with individual seasons, but now that it's over, I want to cover the full series. Now, Kid Cosmic is only 3 seasons, but like I said, it did not go on too long. Every season gets a little bit shorter. It starts off with maybe 10 episodes, then it goes down to 8, then it goes down to 7 or 6. But I have to say, the good news is that it doesn't feel rushed when you watch it. It doesn't feel like, okay, they didn't get to tell this, they didn't get to tell that, they didn't get to do this. It feels like you got a complete story with all 3 seasons. Now, for me, personally, season 1 was the best season. And it pretty much is the entire focus of the show. Is that Kid, who, yeah, they call him Kid. I don't know if he actually has a name, they just call him Kid. He dreams of being a superhero. He loves comics, especially ones that are throwbacks to the comics of the 50s and the 60s. And he dreams of being a superhero one day and helping his friends in his town. Now, he lives with his grandpa, Papa G. Yes, I'm sorry, I gotta say that. I love that name. I love that nickname for him. And his friends, or later he becomes friends with, are Joe, who is a waitress that works at a local diner. A neighborhood little girl named Rosa, and then might as well say his pet cat, Tuna Sandwich. And he finds these stones that have come from space, and he makes them into little power rings like the Power Rangers. Well, I'm sorry, not Power Rangers. Well, actually, they do bring in Power Rangers, but I can't bring that up yet. He makes them like the Green Lantern rings, and they sort of act a little bit like Voltron. And it seems like the show's heavily influenced from all the superhero shows that a lot of us grew up with and stuff that Craig McCracken grew up with. You're definitely gonna see a reference to Powerpuff Girls. I don't want to tell you when it comes up, but it does. They have references to Voltron, DC, and Marvel. These are a little bit of Generator Rex in there, some stuff from Ben 10. There's even a point when they get to later on where it's just reference madness, but it's in a fun way. And basically, Kid wants to put together this superhero team based off his friends and his family, which is actually a really nice idea. And it's supposed to be this world conqueror that's supposed to be kind of sort of like, they imagine like Lord Hater, who's coming to Earth to take the stones for himself. So Kid's training the team to battle this evil before it arrives. And can't forget that they also have this little alien guy that is voiced by Tom Kenny. They call him Chuck, and he sort of just gets stuck there. He at first is the antagonist, but he goes through some pretty good character development and becomes an ally later. And he ends up being sort of like an extra member of the team. And basically the first season structure is getting the team to learn to work together as a team to defeat the evil and protect Earth. Second season, they kind of go into space and they start protecting universes, where the Voltron thing comes in. And season 2 felt a little off, and found out it was because Craig McCracken was not in charge of season 2 in terms of writing. When the pandemic hit, the Netflix actually decided to give writing control over to Robin Zeddy and Lauren Faust, which sounds pretty good. However, the problem is that it shifted focus. It stopped being about Kid Cosmic and started being about Joe, because at some point Joe becomes the leader of the team, and she has to learn to be a good leader, which was still a great idea. But the problem is that Lauren Faust, Robin Zeddy worked on My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic, and My Life's a Teenage Robot, respectively. So it seems like Netflix thought, hey, you have more experience writing female-centric characters, so you should write it. But the problem is that it was so focused on Joe that they left out Kid Cosmic, and they left out the rest of the team. She was such a big focus, everyone else seemed to be a side character. They really didn't do too much in Season 2. The opportunity to have more character growth and interactions, unfortunately, was missed. And Craig McCracken, unfortunately, did not get to help out on it, because it looks like the original idea was that Kid and Joe are going to work together. Kid would kind of train Joe, or she would train Kid. So it would be like kind of like a co-leader thing, which was a cool idea. And unfortunately, it didn't come about in Season 2, because it was more about her learning to be a leader, and they sort of start going down a little bit of the tropey route. It doesn't get like so in your face, but it starts to veer towards there. But I have to say, the good news is that it's still an engaging season, and they do start to up the ante towards the end. And it starts getting so good that you forget it's 20 minutes, and then the episode's already over just like that. And in that plot, besides her becoming the leader, is them finding more cosmic stones, and you'll find out why as you watch. And there's actually 13 stones, so now all the other characters that were part of the town and the background characters actually start to become side and eventually main characters, and they become part of the team, which I absolutely love that idea. And then you have the third and final season, and it looks like Craig McCracken got to tell his entire story. So Season 3 is it. There is no cliffhanger for a fourth season. Season 3 was announced to be the end, and it looks like it was on his terms, so he at least finally got to write something where he finished the story and not get cut off like Over Yonder. So, for here, the third one is about them becoming global heroes, which sort of is playing off the concept like My Hero Academia World Heroes Mission and Miraculous World, where the main characters from one place are meeting superheroes from around the world, which I told you I absolutely love that idea. It's just that Miraculous didn't seem to do it justice, while World Heroes Mission did it fantastically. And Kid Cosmic kind of did that, but they more or less had where they were the global heroes, not meeting other heroes, which was fine. It's still delivering its title. And when you get to Season 3, it does get back into the groove of it being about Kid, because Craig McCracken is back to writing. And then they bring in the idea that he had for Joe and Kid working together. That finally comes into play Season 3. You get to learn a little bit more about Papa G. There's a few close calls in here. And they really up the ante on the fun and the references, which means you know crap's coming down when it gets to the final episode. But until that point, it's actually just a really fun ride. There's like references up and down the show. They make shows to DC and Marvel and Ben 10 and Generator Rex and My Hero Academia, and Stan Lee gets a sort of mini tribute in there. There's like every second you can call out every single reference that he makes in there, and it's absolutely fantastic. It's probably one of the best times you'll ever have watching it when you get to the third season. And how it does end is slightly bittersweet, but it doesn't end where you wish you hadn't watched it or it's a really tragic end. It does end on a pretty good note. It could have had a little bit something different, but I do think it had a pretty fitting finale. I would have changed maybe one or two things, but it wasn't really something where I would want to throw away the whole show. And all the characters were really likable. Even when it had season 2 kind of shift in its focus, it still was pretty good. And Kid is just a really lovable and adorable kid character, especially when he's always trying to be a hero. He's putting out his powers, and his entire time on screen, you just love when you see him there. And as the rocks that he finds have all different powers, Kid's is telekinesis, or telekatexnesis, as he likes to call it, and it keeps expanding as the show goes on. And I think this is a really fantastic show. Looks like really great characters, great writing. It was a throwback to the superhero shows we loved watching in the 2010s and 2000s. It has fantastic animation. The music is really catchy. There's a lot of guest stars from Craig McCracken's other shows, shouts to his other shows, voice actors from Over Yonder and Powerpuff Girls showing up in here, and it's absolutely fantastic. And it's a show I really can't recommend enough. If you really love superheroes and you really want to see a really good superhero show outside of anime again, Kid Cosmic is for you. It's a fantastic show. It's one of the best shows in a while. Kind of sad that it ended at 3 seasons, but at least that it didn't get canceled. So I definitely recommend you watching that on Netflix. It's available of all 3 seasons. And of course I've added them to my team, the Underdogs, because no one really talked about these guys and I couldn't believe it, so I had to add them to my team so they could get more attention. If you happen to see Kid Cosmic and I just don't know it, tell me what you think in the comments below. Do you have a favorite character, favorite episode? Do you love the music? Do you love the animation? Whatever it is, tell me in the comments. I would love to hear your thoughts. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next review. Later.